I thought this was a great game, great opportunity for our guys to get on the road and play against a quality opponent. I thought, Drexel did a really good job of challenging us. We have to do some things that get better. But overall, I thought the first half, we knew that they would come out and, good program, and we talked about, 40 minutes, and I thought we had some dips with our energy, but I thought the second half was phenomenal. I just thought our energy picked up from our juicing station, which is the bench. I thought everybody got engaged, I thought that was the difference in the game.
Coach, in that second half, like you mentioned, obviously the defensive identity kind of got back to what we saw those last two games. Just what was kind of the flip there, or what was kind of the message at halftime that ignited that?
I think like what you said is, just getting back to, what we worked on, our energy, being aggressive, hunting, and I thought we did that the second half. I thought the first half we had a couple of dips in it, but the second half we just strung it together. We strung, a lot of possessions together, and I thought that was the difference.
You pressed in the second half, and you got some separation there. Do you have at this point sort of like a defensive lineup that you put out there when you want to press and when you want to create some chaos?
No, not really. I think with our guys, they all are mobile, quick, and versatile. So it's not really, hey, let's sub this guy in for this pressing lineup. I think we all do a good job. Even if we don't have speed, we still have length. Even when the ball goes in, it's really just kind of being active and keeping the ball in front, and then letting our aggression take over from there.
Coach, what did you see from William Kyle today, and what kind of makes him so special?
I mean, his motor, his IQ. Defensively, he's one. He's very disruptive, and that's a word that we use. And I thought, him and Donnie, in the second half, I thought they really set the tone, protecting the paint, contesting everything, going in there, going inside. But William Kyle in particular, he's a guy that, to me, defensively, he's off the charts, because he can do a lot of things, and his IQ is very high.
Type of game that you were hoping to get out of Nathan George when you brought him in?
I thought he did a really good job directing us, especially in the second half. I thought he decided to try to attack the basket a little bit more instead of trying to make passes. I thought, he was a little bit more aggressive, and when he plays that way, yes, he opens it up, where he's a guy that can make shots. He's a guy that can finish in the paint. I thought he did that, and then the rest of the game will open up for him.
Coach Tyler, I know he's back on the bench in the second half. Just how's he doing? What's kind of his status right now?
Don't know. I think it's I think it was his ankle, so I think he might have twisted it or rolled it. I'll find out more, when we get back in the next day or two. But it doesn't seem like it was that serious.
Coach, you refer to the bench as like your juice junction. What did you call it?
It's our juicing station.
Juicing station. All right, explain that.
So, we talk about playing with energy and a level 5 energy and intensity. And when we got this team together, we knew we were talented. We knew we could play 9 to 10 guys. And the bench is what we call our juicing station, right? Those guys are in it. They're waiting for us. They're waiting to get in, right? They provide energy. They got the juice. And once they get in the game, they bring the juice. And I thought the first half we didn't do that. I thought the second half, our juicing station, they came in and really set the tone.
Which guys, while they're on the bench, are really driving that energy?
Well, right now, to answer the question, who drives it, we got a bench captain. That's Noah Lobdell. He's the guy that is making sure everyone is, bringing the energy and bringing the juice. It's a big job. It's a big responsibility. Some people may say, may not, but it really is. It's a big job, and we're serious about it. And that's the thing that he does, and that's his role, and he does a really good job of it.
Coach, you were out-rebounded by Drexel 19-9 in the first half. Obviously, in the second half, it went much better for you. You out-rebounded them 27-20. What did you kind of say to your team at halftime to make those adjustments in the second half?
Well, the one thing is I thought in 2 possessions for the whole game, I think they got 10 rebounds. I think the first half they got four of them, and then the second half they got probably 4 or 5 before they made it 3. We got to do a better job of finishing plays. We can't just rely on our inside guys to rebound. And in this game in particular, because they shot, people shoot a lot of threes, our guards have to do a better job of that, rebounding. I thought the second half, they came back in and dug some out, and that was the difference.
How was it for you with Kyan again? Another big performance offensively in his aggressiveness.
I'm sorry, I didn't. What you say?
Kyan, how impressed are you with him on the offensive end, staying aggressive once again today?
Yeah, he's been playing great. He's a guy that can, really, score the ball. I thought today his scoring was on display today. I thought he did a really good job. I think the one thing that is very impressive about him is that he doesn't let the defense, he doesn't take pressure off the defense, right? Like he does a good job of mixing it up, taking it to the basket, taking shots, and I think as a team overall, we have to have that balance, right? We can make shots, but we just can't rely on those. But I thought we do a good. I think he does a really good job. Of being able to have that balance. Of putting pressure on the paint and finishing. He can really finish in the lane, and then, if he gets an open shot, he can knock it down.
How close is JJ to getting back?
I think he's really close. Really close. I expect him back. Pretty soon.
Is it important for you that JJ gets some playing time before you guys head out to Vegas? Is that a priority for you guys?
I mean, it's important because he's a big part of what we're doing. He's our captain, he's our leader, so for our team to be whole, for this team to be whole, for this program to be where we think we can be, he's a big part of it, and we need him.
So the only guy who hasn't gotten in the game is Aaron Womack. Are you thinking about a red shirt for him, or what's his situation?
Yeah, those are discussions that we're having, trying to figure out, what we want to do with him. Super talented. We just got to figure out, what's the best decision for him. And we'll talk about that as we move forward.
Coach, how special was it for the players to play in the Sixers arena, having a professional environment? How fun was it for you? And would you guys consider coming back out here to play a Big Five team again?
We definitely consider coming back out here. I thought the fans showed up. Our Syracuse fans showed up. I thought it was a really good environment. Obviously, getting ready to, playing down here in Philadelphia, was exciting. I think the first half, our guys were really excited. Then they settled down a little bit after that. But a great venue. Philadelphia is a place that, we would love to, come back and play. This is a big time opportunity for us in our program.
I think you guys had 6 blocks, obviously a big defensive showing. Is that something that you want your team to hang their hat on as your defense? Is that something that's number one in your mind?
Yes, I think if we can continue to do that and build off of that, I think it helps us offensively, and it gives us a chance. When you talk about being one of the best teams, or in the country, the best programs in the country, those guys are all good defensive teams. That's the reality. Can they score? Yeah, but they can get stops when they need to. And I think that with this team and what we have is that's what we want to hang our hat on, and we want to continue to get better. We're not there yet. And we just got to keep getting better, and I think we will get there. I think this group wants to do that, and I think they understand how important it is to be able to get stops and defend, and continue to get better at that and improving that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.